Good morning, everybody. It's your boy D Max. So let's talk. So we often have conversations where we talk about the plight of our people in the United States, and we talk about the struggles that we have in us. And it's often been alluded to that we are under a curse as a people because of our rebelliousness towards God. And in thinking about that and keeping along that line right there, I was looking at the story of Balak and Balaam. And this brought me to a correlation between our plight that we're dealing with as a nation in the United States. We always have these conversations about how can we grow as a people, how can we come together and unite as a nation of black people and move forward to gain our economic independence and all of these social things that we're trying to accomplish. And so this story plays a lot into it because, when we came here under slavery, we had a large uphill battle against us. We knew this from day one, and we've continually over the last 400 something years have been fighting this battle. But there was a certain point around 1876, or what they say, 1865, where they said that slaves were freed. But in actuality, what took place was the same thing that took place when King Balak was about to defend the land of Moab against Israel, who was coming in to take over Canaan and all of that and get the promised land. So he figured, I'm going to have a curse placed over Israel. And that way, whenever they come at me, their God is going to be subdued, and he's not gonna be there to bless them, and I can win this battle and keep these Israelites up off of me and my people. This was his plan. And so he went and he found a prophet named Balaam, who was from his old town, and he brought him through, and he was like, look, I need you to go and curse Israel so that when they try to come over here and overtake us and take this land that God promised them, we'll be able to defeat them. So Balaam went and he tried and he tried and he tried, but he could not curse Israel. God would not allow him to curse Israel. And so, in their frustration, they came up with a plan. And Balaam said, now, where it is true that we cannot curse Israel, we can entice Israel away from God and get Israel to curse themselves. And that way we can lift our hands up off of them and let them go for self. And they'll do everything for us, and they'll even destroy themselves. And that was the plan. And this plan has been running rampant through our black community, our black movements, our civil rights movements from day one. That plan has been running rampant, and it's been doing a great job of getting us to destroy ourselves. Now, you look at all the different ways that we curse ourselves. First, just the way that we speak about ourselves, the way that we describe ourselves, we are cursing ourselves. I've stated how over the years slang terms have changed, but we've called ourselves so many different derogatory things and placed so many different derogatory labels on ourselves with honor, and wore it as a badge of honor, not knowing that we were cursing ourselves. The power in the tongue causes us to speak blessings and speak curses, and we continuously on a daily basis speak curses over ourselves and over other people in the language that in the way that things come out of our mouth. And so a lot of this back and forth that be going on here, we're putting curses on each other, and then to come out of that same mouth and say be blessed, or talk about blessings, but you're steady cursing somebody, and you're cursing yourself by the way you label yourself and you title yourself. And so when you get into the practice of doing this, man, we don't think about it none, and we just come out of our mouth all types of ways. This is something that I'm trying my hardest to be mindful of, is coming out of my mouth any type of way, because I have to understand that I'm actually speaking life into either a blessing or into a curse. And I don't want to be the one out here cursing nobody, let alone cursing myself. And so, I used to be real big on trying to expose preachers and expose pastors and stuff like that, man. And, you know, um, God had to deal with me in that area to be able to utilize wisdom and to be able to voice my opinion without, you know, putting myself in jeopardy by unrightfully cursing somebody. And he makes this more clear to me as I study and as he brings it to my attention through other literature and other teachings, that when I speak as he spoke. And when he spoke, he created things. He spoke things into existence. And me being in his likeness and image, when I speak things into existence, especially with the amount of power and belief I put behind what I'm saying. And so this is something that I have to be careful with. This is a power that is beyond anything that people can fathom. We are out here searching for power. When we think of power, we think of it in the sense of something that's going to strengthen my body to the point to where nobody can touch me, and I am invincible. I can surpass any and every man, woman, and child on this earth as far as strength goes. That's what we think about with power. We also think of influence and how we can uh, influence people to do things, and how we can intimidate them with the level of power that we have. We also associate power with security. There's nothing you can do to me. I have so many resources and networks of people around me that I am untouchable. These are all of the things that we associate with power, but we never associate the power of the tongue in its true form, because there is so much power in the things that we speak. Now, there are some people who are cognizant of this, and they have went on to utilize that to capitalize on people's insecurities and so forth and so on. I'm not speaking against motivational speakers. I'm speaking against those who manipulate others and use their insecurities and their inadequacies to garner a living off of. You know, everybody needs motivation, everybody needs encouragement, and everybody needs counsel. The Word of God often speaks of wise counsel. That's one of the things that is encouraged, is that you seek wise counsel and that you be wise counsel. Anybody who's in your circle should be wise counsel. Now, even though Job's friends were accusing him of doing something that he did not do, they were trying to give wise counsel when they were saying, hey, there must be something. We know you, I've known you for a long time, but there has to be something, bro. Think. There's some sin somewhere that you've done, man, that you just not. And they were trying to be wise counsel. This is what we do to each other. What's going on to Ex Tentacion? How you doing this morning? I'm blessed as always. Just had a thought that I had to speak out about, because I recognize how we've been tricked into cursing ourselves. This is what those in power have figured out. They figured out the same thing that King Balak found out. They found out that you're not going to be able to stop these people. You and I are going to be able to defeat these people. There's been so many other great leaders before us that have held these people in captivity, and they still always prospered, and they always grew to the point to where their captor became nervous at the level of progress that these people have. Hey, I'm glad that you're doing good. And they understood that these people are blessed people. They acknowledge that their God is a real God, and he is definitely watching over his people. So we're going to have to get these people to get out of line with their God, so that they can curse themselves and he can take that hedge of protection from around them. This is what they figured out. This is what the slave master here in America figured out about us. He figured out that if you get these people to curse themselves, we can go ahead and say that we've done away with slavery, because they're going to come right back to us. Where do they have to go? What do they have to do within this system that we've created for us to thrive, and for them to be the catalyst for all of the work? So then they came up with King Balak's plan. Well, we're going to get them to curse themselves. We don't have to oppress them anymore. We don't have to do anything to them anymore in that fashion. Yeah, we have some that are still going to do it just because it's in them to do. That's our way. But we're finding a more covert way to destroy and ruin these people and keep them in a class up under us, never to rise up to the point to where they will be a threat to overtaking us. And so they utilize these psychological warfare tactics, and this is where we are right now. And we continue to curse ourselves by the things that we attach ourselves to, by the titles that we call ourselves. For a long time, it was savage. We was calling ourselves savages. I'm a savage. That dude's savage. He a beast. All of these different terminologies that we don't see any harm in, but really and truly, we are speaking these things into existence. That dude is savage. My baby gonna be a savage. My son gonna be a beast. All of these things. Like, once again, you know, we don't see anything wrong with it. We don't see the harm in it, but we have to understand that we are speaking these things onto our children. We're speaking these things onto whoever the object of our conversation is, as well as ourselves. I'm a beast. I'm a savage. Well, now the terminology is I'm a demon. And I heard Charleston White say the other day, and this is very hurtful to a lot of people, but I see every bit of where he was going with it. And he was like, you know, um, King Von proclaimed that he was a demon. He was on demon time. He told the world that he was operating in the capacity of a demon. And so if we calling ourselves the children of God and opposing the things that God would oppose, why then would you not oppose a demon? He made a great point right there. We have to be careful of the things that we're calling ourselves and the labels that we're speaking on ourselves and the curses that we're speaking into our lives and other people's lives. We really do. And that takes practice, and it takes mindfulness, and that's something that God has to put on your heart. If that's a conviction that he places on your heart, then you're going to have the mind to do so. And that's just where I'm at with it. That's not everybody's conviction, but I'm just saying it's one of my convictions, and it's something that I'm working on, because I understand now. Before, I've heard it, and I've heard things talked about, but I never had a clear visual of what was being said, and I never had understanding. And now that I have the understanding and the clear visual of it, I just make it a point within myself to keep my talk within a certain form and fashion. You know what I'm saying? So when we continually see on the TV, on social media, on our phones, all of this toxicity and people constantly cursing each other. It make you feel good to curse somebody out. Well, let's break down that term, to curse somebody out. I'm cursing you out. Out of what? You're cursing them out of grace. You're cursing them out of mercy. You're cursing them out of forgiveness that can be given on your part. You're cursing them out. You're not giving them no type of mercy, no type of grace, none of that, no forgiveness, none of that. No mercy, all vengeance. That's what you say when you're cursing somebody out. So if cursing somebody out makes us feel good, then you get exactly what you deserve in cursing somebody out. But also be aware that in cursing somebody out, anything that you speak, it's going to go out and it's going to accomplish what it set out to do. And it's going to return to you with that same energy that you sent out. I've said this before, and this totally applies to this situation because we have to have a clear understanding of blessings and cursings. Now, I've just had an interaction last night with a family member who jumped on a post that I made. I said, what was the post? I said, don't 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 try to force people. No, I said stop trying to force people to choose your love over their addiction because you'll set yourself up for heartbreak. And this family member jumped on my post and was like, oh man, people think they better than other people. And I don't know where out of that statement this person got that I thought that I was better than anybody. I was giving some wise counsel. I was giving some advice in general just to everybody on Facebook. That's what I often do. When I post advice, I post experiences that I've been through. I post cautionary tales so that somebody can probably see it and it'll, you know what I'm saying, it'll click. Sometimes it'll take just how somebody words something and you see it and it'll just click to you in that moment because that's how God prepared it. And so I do things like that quite often. And for whatever reason, they felt like I was acting like I was better than somebody. Now, mind you, this statement wasn't made towards anybody at all. It was a generalized statement to anybody who tune into my page and look at what I'm talking about. And so they took this as me thinking I'm better than other people. And, you know, I was oh man, I'm not going to even entertain this. And so I left it at this. I was like, look, um, whatever I said, I stand on it. And if it does not apply to you, then you should not acknowledge it and you can move on. But this is what wise counsel is. Now, mind you, this person, I haven't talked to this person. I don't know anything that's going on with this person. But what I feel is anytime somebody comes at you with animosity on something that is a generalized statement and they take it out of context and project onto you something that they feeling, it's exactly that. It's something that they feeling. It's something that they dealing with that the spirit used you and what you said to prick their heart to the point to where they felt some type of way and they felt compelled to attack you or to come at you and tell you about yourself and curse you out. And that's where I'm leading with this. So now it's at a point to where this person has uh whatever in their heart towards me and they feel like I think I'm better than somebody else, but that's a personal issue of their own. They may be suffering from low self-esteem. They may be suffering from this issue that I was talking about. But people have to realize that God uses other people to bring you a message. Yeah, like I said, I don't know anything that this person is going through in their life at all. So for them to come on there and respond the way that they did, apparently I touched the nerve. Apparently I addressed something that's going on in their life. And so at that point, they have to recognize that God is trying to get their attention, and they have to take that up with God. Have the humility to be able to receive the message that has been given to them, because it ain't like I spoke it to them. So I had absolutely no emphasis or inflection on my voice. So it's not the way I said it at all, because this is typed out, a comment. So there's no other way you can take it other than what it literally says. And if you read anything more into it than it being some advice from somebody who's taught in AA classes, and this is one of the premises that you go by, then you have a personal issue. And so I choose not to get angry and do the back and forth. I did a little bit. I ain't gonna even lie. I was a little petty because, I made a general statement, and all you're getting, get understanding, because you can often misunderstand something and make yourself look very foolish while responding in a way that's unnecessary to something that has absolutely nothing to do with you. But going back to now, this has caused a situation to where this person wants to speak curses on my name and wants to speak curses into my life, and they feel like that they are right in doing so. They feel very justified in what they're doing, and this is the mentality that keeps us in a state of always trying to repair the movement. We're always trying to fix something within the civil rights movement because of this mentality that's been sold into the people. That whole thing that Balak figured out is the same thing that the social elite in the United States figured out. We can keep them cursing themselves over and over again until they just cancel themselves out. Because if we try to continuously oppress them, then at some point, God is going to fight on their behalf and defend them. And we know that we can't fight against God. So what we're going to do, we're going to get them to oppress themselves. We're going to get them to continually curse themselves, curse each other, curse themselves, place these negative labels on themselves in order to spiritually keep themselves locked down, and they will never see themselves as anything that is progressive, that is strong, that is beautiful. This was the whole plan, and it's working to a T still. There's nothing under the sun that has changed. We're still locked under that same scheme of cursing ourselves. The rap songs, a majority of them, especially in the most popular genre of rap right now, which is drill music, is all about cursing each other. It's praising death. It's wishing death on one another. And all you're doing is singing curses. If you're not singing praises, then the opposite is singing curses. And that's what they're doing. They're using the communication of God, because remember, music was one of the ways that God received his praises from the people through Satan. And that's what caused him to well up with pride. So now they're singing curses on each other on a regular, daily, hourly, minutely, secondly basis. Constantly cursing. Every soon as you turn the radio on and you hear Lil Durk, soon as you turn the radio on and you hear any of the acronyms rappers, you're hearing people spitting curses on each other, constantly keeping themselves at bay, while the so-called oppressor is standing up there looking over the balcony, sipping his little cup of drink, laughing. He's no longer the oppressor, and this is the point that he's been trying to make for the longest, and technically he's not lying. He's no longer the oppressor. We've oppressed ourselves. He's gotten us to the point to where we mentally oppress ourselves. We mentally curse ourselves and keep ourselves in bondage. He don't have to do it anymore. He probably haven't been doing it for the last 50, 60, 70 years. We've just been doing it to ourselves. He put the reins in our hands and said, go ahead, boy. You got it. Destroy yourself. And we took over the reins, and yes, sir, we gonna destroy ourselves real good, boss. And that's exactly what we've been doing. And so all of this vitriol and all of this venom that we throw towards our so-called oppressor, we really have to understand that he took the role of King Balak, and he played the biggest scam on us in the world. He got God's people to curse themselves and get God to take his hand off of them for their rebellion, for their disobedience, and for their constant cursing of each other and him. Yeah, that's where we at, y'all. So when I hear a lot of the back and forth and people cursing each other out and calling it exposing people, and it's cool. Some people may need to be exposed. You know what I'm saying? But the spirit in which you do a thing determines everything. A tree is known by the fruit that it bears. And if your fruit that you bearing all the time does not coincide with the fruit of the Spirit of God, then I'm gonna have to question your intentions, and I keep myself away from that type of energy. And not to say that the fruit of the Spirit of God. See, this is where a lot of people will get a lot of justifications by by miscategorizing or mischaracterizing something, I should say. And they'll be like, well, the fruit of the Spirit is love and long suffering and understanding, but the fruit of the Spirit is also um, being firm with you. The fruit of the Spirit is also telling you the truth about yourself when it is necessary, and not letting you believe a lie about yourself. Getting you to fully confront those things about yourself and challenging you to become a better person. These are also fruits of the Spirit that we neglect to speak about. We'll just say the kindness and the lovingness and those things that make us feel good inside, but we won't talk about how we have to deal with people in hard fact, and how we have to deal with people in all fairness and take our emotions out of it and be actually fair across the board, and have the integrity to be able to say the unpopular opinion. All of this falls under the fruit of the Spirit of God as well. And so I judge a tree by the fruit that I see, and the truth, and I just leave it at that. There's no other explanation needed, because words are not going to cover up the actions. Your words should coincide with the actions. And so that's just what I leave it at. But let's just stop cursing each other like that. And if you are going to continue to curse others, then be willing to accept the curses that come upon your life by you cursing others. That's all I really got to say on it, man. This is your boy D Mac. Y'all know what I say. Sticks and stones can break your bones, but the word can always heal you. I'm out.